Hi, my name is Charlotte, and this channel is about my attempt to become moderately competent at drawing. This week I'm going to be talking to you about my last month of portrait drawing. If you're interested in hearing this story from the start, I've put all of the previous videos on this topic into a playlist, which I'll link down below. This month's portrait drawing mood is incoherent screaming. At the end of last month, I described a plan that I had put together where I was going to alternate days between drawing portraits and working on improving my ability to draw each of the features individually. Did I stick to that? Pretty much, not rigorously, but definitely the spirit of that plan I followed through with pretty closely. Unfortunately, the outcomes were generally terrible. There were usually one or more of three problems in my finished portrait. The first is some kind of anatomy problem. The features are in the wrong place, they're not lined up correctly, they're too big, too small, whatever. There's some problem with my underlying drawing of the anatomy. A second problem is that I don't always get the structure of the head, the volumes of the head looking correct. And the end result kind of looks like a balloon with eyes drawn on it. The reason for this seems to be some kind of combination of drawing and rendering problems. And speaking of rendering, the third problem was where I would get the anatomy more or less correct. There would perhaps be some suggestion of structure to the head, but then I came to render the image and it all went to pieces immediately. So for example, this male model with heavily shadowed eyes also looks like he's growing mold on his chin. And this model inadvertently made him look like he has a black eye. And there are some special portraits where I have all three of these problems at once. All of this added up to just a supremely frustrating month. And unfortunately, this is a frustration that I recognize entirely too well. This is not my first attempt to learn to draw portraits. It's not even my fifth attempt to learn to draw portraits. And pretty much every time, 6 to 8 to maybe 10 weeks in, I've hit this exact same wall where I sit there and go, I'm really bad at this. This is really difficult. What happened to my really fun hobby that I was enjoying? I saw today a video where someone described drawing as stress relieving and meditative and healing, and that is absolutely not my experience of drawing portraits this month. It's just been really, really frustrating instead. I even really genuinely thought about giving up this month, and the only reason I didn't on a couple of days was that I started this YouTube channel. And even though only 3 people watch my videos through to the end, hello, 3 people who watch my videos through to the end, I'm happy to have you here. I didn't want to have to make a video where I tried to explain why I wasn't going to keep drawing portraits. As superficial and ridiculous as that is, it is the reason that I kept going. But also, more rationally, I know that it was always going to get difficult. I've experienced it before. It's also just a thing that happens when you're learning to draw. And I just need to push through it. The way out of this experience is more practice, more time until you come out the other side, hopefully. My only goal for next month is going to be to have some evidence to show you that I just kept going. So more portraits, more drawings, more something, even if they're terrible. Just set the expectation bar as low as humanly possible and anticipate that it's still going to be bad. The portraits are still going to be wonky looking. There's still going to be creepy faces that should really be burned in a fire, but I will keep going somehow. There are a few causes for optimism. So the first is that the other piece of my practice this month was to look at the individual features and try to resolve some of my problems with drawing them. And while the progress that I've made is very small and my ability to apply what I've learned to actual portraits is extremely inconsistent, I would say that I have had a few tiny, small aha moments where I felt like I do understand something a little bit better. I do see something in faces that I didn't see before. Hopefully, with a bit more time, some of those insights will start to coalesce in my portraits. The second reason for optimism is that separately, I have continued to work on my ballpoint rendering skills. So the last time I talked about this was in a drawing update where I said, this is very, very much harder than I ever knew. And I hadn't felt like I'd made a lot of progress. Last week, I suddenly had a series of days where the rendering that I was doing was starting to look more and more the way that I wanted it to look. And again, I'm not very consistent with this yet, and because this is a very recent thing, I actually haven't had a chance to try it out on a portrait. But I think there's a possibility there that I could be improving those skills and that when I come to apply it to portraits, it might start to work. And the third reason for optimism is that one of the things I did to try to get me through this difficult moment was that I bought another course. Was it the best financial decision in the world to buy yet another course? No, probably not. But although I don't think this course is magic, I do think that it was the right course for me at exactly this moment. So the course is called Quick Sketch Portraits, and it's by a teacher called David Tenorio on Sketchy. As the name suggests, the purpose of this course is to teach you to do portraits which take around 20 minutes to produce. Very little of this information was absolutely new to me. In fact, most of it was pure revision. But there were certainly enough small insights where he'd say something like, I see a lot of students making this mistake when they're drawing profiles. And I would look at him drawing the mistake and think, oh yeah, I do that exactly. And then he would follow up by saying, and here's the easy fix, which is always great to hear that there is an easy fix that you can implement. And I can already see how I'm going to put some of those insights to use. So next month, like I said, really the only outcome I'm expecting of any work I do this month is that I've done some work. I'm going to try to implement some of the things that I've learned in this David Tenorio class, and I'm hoping to just give myself room for those other little hopeful signs that I've observed over the last month to really take root. Meanwhile, next week I'm going to be back to talk about my general drawing skills and visual library work, which this month has been all about drawing large quantities of birds, and also, like I said, still practicing the ballpoint pen work, and I hope getting somewhere with that finally. So I hope that you have a really great week and that your art all goes well and is stress relieving and fun, and I'll see you next weekend. Bye for now.